Good morning, friends. I'm Tina Gadini.
And I'm Justin Johnson.
We want to welcome you to Fellowship of Faith.
It is gorgeous outside. We just had heat upon heat upon heat the past
Our school
week or so.
Is not air conditioned.
Yeah, that's
and
awful.
Somehow it can be like this cold summer, and then the week of school starting, it
It's
gets hot.
hot.
Okay,
yeah.
but this year, our school, we had an issue with our buses out of our control.
Right. I remember you saying
and so
that.
school started a week later than what it normally would, and even then, the first week of school was hot.
Yeah. See, it's almost planned that way.
Yeah.
Where Mother Nature's like, you know what? Let's give them something, a little heat to turn up for the school year. But the past 2 days have been the perfect weather in my eyes. Yesterday it was really
We turned
great.
the air conditioning off.
Yeah, we open the windows.
We're quick to turn the air conditioning off, but
Don't blame me. Open the windows. If I could have this weather at all times, that's what I would choose. So, how are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Reagan had a big test last week, and we get the results on Monday.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm just kind of
Okay.
meh,
Yeah, you just want to know.
fighting with my husband. I mean, it's like this is
no.
not what it's about. It's all stress, but
Yeah, it's definitely stress.
anyway.
Yeah. Well, we've all been praying, so
Thank you. Thank
continue double the prayers for good results and find out tomorrow.
you. Yeah. How about that for a conversation stopper?
Yeah. I didn't realize that the results were already coming out so fast.
Yeah, this summer, this January through August went surprisingly slow and surprisingly fast at the same time.
I totally understand what you mean. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, part of what's helped me through all of this is we have this amazing community
100%.
that just gets behind us, gets behind me. I know that people are praying, all this kind of stuff. So if you are home and you don't have a community, find a community. You're welcome to do Fellowship of Faith online, but find an in-person community that you can build up and build your life around, a Christ community.
Yeah, there's something to say about having a community through your church. My little brother being as sick as he was throughout all of his life and through his passing, we had such a great just group of people that weren't family, that were just friends meeting through church, and they were so wonderful to us and assisting us making meals, taking my sister and I places when my parents couldn't do it, and watching us, and then just showing up in amazing support for his funeral, and it's incredible, and that's a community I've not found anywhere else outside of family. So
yeah, we went to a birthday party yesterday from a family that's been coming to FOF, and they're from Australia, and
oh, cool.
And so they're like, and so essentially like FOF is our family, so that's who's going to be there. And we're like, oh, good, we're family now. We can drop by any time because they've got goats and sheep and chickens and a zip line.
That sounds awesome.
Like, we'll just
zip
be here.
line, that is so cool. I like
so
a
the
zip
zip line is for the kids, right?
Oh.
At one point, the zip line sounds ridiculously loud. Like, what the heck is going on? I turn around, and it's Dave on the zip line, and he is, like, going so fast.
He's just screaming.
And he's getting toward, like, the tree where it's wrapped around, and I see just this panic on his face because he's like, I don't know if there's a stop at the end, and if there is a stop, it's meant for a little kid, not for a grown-up. So all of a sudden, he's, like, dragging his feet, trying to stop. Nice. He hit the tree.
Oh, no.
He didn't. He stopped. He was all good. But Dave was on the zip line.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Not at all.
No.
If any adult's going to use the zip line, it's going to be Dave, for sure. For sure. All right, what we got going on today?
We got our serve fair.
We do have our serve fair going on today. So everything that we do as a community kind of detailed out. We have ministry groups, we have engagement groups, we have the Hope Center, which Steve Wells is heavily a part of.
One of the things that we're known for saying is that everything you do is mission.
100%.
Cleaning the toilets
definitely.
is mission.
Yep.
Who wants to go to a bathroom or a church with grody bathroom?
No one. Anything you do in Christ's name is a mission. So.
Yeah.
It's very cool to get all those groups out there that we can read about and see. And
they should all be online, right?
I believe so. Oh, excuse me. Almost burped on the mic. That would have been gross.
I bet if I know anything about FOF, they put it on the very first homepage.
You think so?
I bet so. Okay.
I think it's going to be on the second.
You think it's on the second?
Second. Just to be different.
While I'm being goofy and looking this up, let us know
that you're
with us.
That you're worshiping
and
with us.
do the text number, too.
You can text here to 855-465-2720. Let us know that you are listening to us today or hearing the worship. Man, words are hard to come by today. Let us know that you're here. That's basically all we're going to get.
All right. At fellowshipoffaith.org, the very first one is serve. Serve.
Yeah, we're right. It is serve.
All right.
So if you are not here in person, so you can't be a part of the fair in person, go ahead and look online and just learn about all the things that we offer, all the serving opportunities that we have here.
We're going to get started.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys at the end. Enjoy your worship.
See ya. Enjoy.
Good morning, let's stand and sing. This is for the lost and lonely, for the broken and afraid. This is for those who are hurting, hoping help is on the way. In these battles of addiction, fears chasing after me. Whatever trouble I'm facing, well, I will lift my hands and say, I believe in miracle power, in a wonder-working God. I am filled with the Holy Spirit, working wonders in my heart. I belong to a loving Father. I'm a friend of Christ, His Son. When it feels like I won't make it, I call on Jesus. times I've called your name some broken nights. You showed up and patched me up. You do every time. I get amnesia. I forget that you keep coming around. Yeah, ain't no way you ever let me down. Good God Almighty, well, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know when I need without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me is he good? He's good. Tell me is he God? He's God. He is good God Almighty. You say your love goes on forever, that your mercy never stops. So why would I assume you'd be somebody that you're like sun in the morning? I know you're gonna be there every day. So what on earth could make me be afraid? Good God Almighty, well, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know when I need without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me is he good? He's good. Tell me is he God? He's God. He is good God Almighty. Praise him in the morning, praise him in the noontime, praise him when the sun goes down. Love him in the morning, love him in the noontime, love him when the sun goes down. Good God Almighty, well, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know when I need without your mercy. Praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me is he good? He's good. Tell me is he God? He's God. He is good God Almighty. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down.
Morning, everyone. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming today. My name's Dave Gadini, pastor here on staff. Just want to give you a personal welcome off the bat. Why don't you go ahead and grab a seat, all right? Hey, so I'm going to ask you, let me get my stand arranged there. I'm going to ask you to do something with me this morning. Would you take out your phone right now? All right, I'll give you a second to get it out. I'll give you a second to unlock it. All right, what I am going to ask you to do is text in a number, and we're going to put the number on the screen. Now, I finally put this number in my contacts. I'd encourage you to do the same because it's quicker than having to type 10 times, right? So, if you could just text the word here right now to 855-465-2720. I'm going to get mine done too. And just text the word here. Thank you so much for that. We'd love having that little bit of bass touch. Now, I'll go one step further with you. If we can be praying for you this week, you can text again to that exact same number and text the word prayer this time. And that might take you a little bit longer because you'll have to probably give about 45 seconds to type in your prayer request. But if it is important enough to you to have other people praying alongside of you, we think that's what church should be about and what coming to Christ should be about, us doing it together in community. So that prayer request will go to our elders, and our elder team will be praying for you this week. They will even pray with you if that is something that you'd prefer. But regardless, they will be praying for you in that. So thank you so much for taking a moment to do that this morning. Much obliged. Second thing that we're going to put on the screen here is different ways to give that we have at Fellowship of Faith. In advance, I'll just say thank you to all of you who give so sacrificially and generously every week. And even those of you who maybe are starting the journey and just exploring with what this looks like as a way of life of giving back to God. Thank you for that. We try to make it easy for you by giving multiple ways to do it. If you still have your phone out, you can text the word give right now to that number. If it's your first time, you'll have to set a couple things up. If you've done it before, it literally takes 20 seconds. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. All right? And you could look at the other ways on there if you're like, no, I like to do it like old school, baby, envelope all the way. So if you just text that, again, I have that in my contact as well. I'd encourage the same for you. Took me that long, all right? Thank you for that so much. If you're new with us, by the way, please don't feel pressured in that side of things. We get it. You got to check a church out. You got to kick the tires. You got to see if this is the right faith community for you. You're our guests. Don't feel obligated on that side of things. But for those of you who call FOF home, thanks so much and appreciate it. Now, let me get on to a couple bits of news and notes that are pretty significant with this kickoff of the school year that we're entering. Last Sunday, we had our ministry fair, and our ministry fair was highlighting all of our different discipleship groups and table dinners and fellowship events that we have in this fall season at FOF. If you missed that, or if you haven't landed yourself into one yet, I really, really encourage you to do it today. Hop onto our website, fellowshipoffaith.org. You will see a button right there for adult ministries or highlighting different groups this fall to get involved, or simply go to our adult ministry webpage, and you're going to see a legion of different groups that are there meeting all different times of the week. I'm going to highlight two that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. This Wednesday night is our first Wednesday night ministry for the year. What does that mean? For several years now at Fellowship of Faith, we have been having an event on Wednesday evenings where we have multiple groups meeting here at the exact same time. It runs like this. At 5 o'clock, we're serving dinner. So if you don't want to cook and you can get here in time, sometime between 5 and 6, come and eat. We'd love to just kind of share a meal together. It's a no pressure kind of thing. You just mill about and eat as you can. But then at 6 o'clock, we have 5 different groups starting here at Fellowship of Faith that run to 7, concomitantly with children's ministry called The Rock, student ministry called Boulder. So you have all those kinds of what I would call, what do I do with my kids pieces built in. We've got a men's group. We've got a women's group. We've got a group going through what I would call apologetics, or like, why do we believe the Christian faith, and what are some of the answers to the tough questions that people pose to the Christian faith? We've got a ministry mentorship group, and you can check all this kind of stuff out on our website. That starts this Wednesday, dinner from 5 to 6, but the groups start at 6. Make sense? If you are new with us today, and you are looking for a way to get plugged in, I find that the Wednesday night ministry is a great way to kind of just get in a men's group, get in a women's group, or whichever of these others that might light you up. And there we go. The second I want to announce is this. We understand that it can be very difficult for people sometimes to find time during midweek. That's why we offer ministries here at 9 a.m. You can call them smaller group ministries, if you will. We call them our discipleship hour. We have The Rock, our children's ministry that meets at 9. We have Boulder, our student ministry that meets at 9. And we have an adult class that I lead. If you like to go deeper into the nitty-gritty of the Bible, also at 9. Now, we don't meet next Sunday, Labor Day weekend. There is no 9 o'clock hour next Sunday. But on September 10th, 2 weeks from today, we are full gear into our season. And again, it is a great way to connect, especially if midweek is difficult for you, and to kick the tires on this thing and see if it works. Whichever route you choose, the two that I mentioned, or maybe any of the others, get involved this fall. Connect with other people in a smaller setting to pursue life with God together and to go deeper into what God is trying to do in your life. That's what these groups are all about, and they're all starting to kick off at this point. Makes sense? All right, now, finally, second to finally, let me put another slide on the screen here today. There are some of you here who might be asking questions about things like this. How do I get baptized here at Fellowship of Faith? How do I become a member here at Fellowship of Faith? Maybe you're looking for your kids to take communion for the first time or make a public profession of faith in Christ for the first time. We call these faith steps. And if you want more information on any of these faith steps, come to our Faith Step workshop on Saturday, September 9th. Now, you can snap that QR code that you see on the screen. It will take you straight to the registration page, or go to fellowshipoffaith.org, and you will get it there as well. But look, this is a no-pressure event. It's not like I come to this, now I've got to do it. No, come and get the info you want. See what it's about, see where we're going as a congregation, see how to take that step for you or your child. We'd love to have you. That's Saturday morning, and you can always reach out to me with more questions on the same webpage. You'll find my email there. Now, finally, all right, last slide up here. We are going to put one more slide up here on the screen. Today is our Serve Fair. Last week was our ministry fair, all about groups to get involved in. Today is our Serve Fair, all about different ways to serve here at FOF or through our FOF community to our greater community here in McHenry County, or even globally for that matter. After the service today, various ministry leaders are going to be out in the coffee house at those tables to answer questions, to help give guidance, and to share with you different serving opportunities that we have. But here's what we want you to do, every single one of you who own a phone right now. Take your phone out. Snap that QR code, or snap the QR code that you will find on this card that you probably sat on or pushed aside this morning, and you're going to see it says, take a 2-minute discovery tool. Now, stamping this code will take you to our Serve webpage, and that's the landing page that will lay out for you all our serving opportunities here at Fellowship of Faith. I encourage you, in your own time, maybe spend 5 minutes or so playing on that page. But for right now, go to that big red button that says, take the survey. We put together a little BuzzFeed quiz, for lack of a better term, that will take you 2 minutes to take. About 20 questions, just trying to help assess what your interests are, what you like, what you kind of roll with. And what it will do is try to match you to various serving opportunities here at FOF. Have you started yet? Have you started yet? You're excited about this, I could see. All right, so go ahead and finish up that survey, or take it if you have not started yet, and then we will come up for air in 2 minutes.
But just a glimpse draws my heart to change, and one side of you lays my sin to waste. I don't need to see everything, just more of you. Take it all away. Magnify no other name. Open up my eyes to you.
Need more time? A little bit? All right. Now, if you need to finish, go ahead and finish. But if you finished already, it should have generated an auto response to you of a top 10 suggestions. If it didn't pop up right on your screen, just check your inbox and your email. It will be there as well. Here's what we'd love you to do. We'd love you to take 2 minutes right now. We're going to invite you to stand up and greet someone around you, but this is how we want you to greet them. Make sure to introduce yourself, because it's always nice to share a name, but then share one thing on that list, on that top 10 list that you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. And share another thing on that top 10 list where you're like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Does that make sense? Can you do that? Yes. Time to go home, people? All right, God bless, have a great Sunday, right?
Now we gotta buy everybody a new phone.
It was fun walking around hearing some of the just really bad suggestions that people got. But I often wonder sometimes in the bad suggestions, is God actually kind of doing something there that we just don't realize or want to admit yet? Hey, look, if you didn't get a chance to take it, maybe you didn't bring your phone in this morning, make sure to take it at home. It's right there on our homepage. Or maybe when you go out of the service today, hop on an iPad out there or something. But But take advantage of this. It's not only a lot of fun, but through it, I think God's going to reveal some pretty cool things. So, today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about my good friend Jesus. And off the bat, I suspect that some of you are like, that's a really odd way to talk about Jesus. I mean, how are you friends with a guy that, well, you've never met and that you don't spend time with and that you don't talk to and who doesn't talk to you and that you don't see? All right, good deal. Good deal. So some of the rest of you now are going, there's 2 people here with imaginary friends. And it can kind of sound that way, can it? It can be kind of strange. It can feel like an imaginary friend, but it's really not like that at all, because I'll just tell you I have met him, and I do spend time with him, and I do talk to him quite a lot, and he actually talks to me too, though I don't hear him, of course, in the same way that you're hearing me right now. And I don't get to spend that face-to-face with him. I wish I could, but I got to wait on that one. So the way I kind of equate it is it's like a friendship with, like, you have that good friend in your life who moved away, and you don't get to see each other anymore. Or some of you who are married, maybe when you were dating, your spouse was away at college, and you had to do long distance. Or maybe your spouse is military, and they get deployed. And it leaves you just with this sense of longing and yearning, going, I cannot wait for the day that we are reunited again. But in the meantime, we email, right? It's a lot like that. Incidentally, I guess I should say that Jesus wants to be friends with you too. And if you've never thought of Jesus that way, don't know how to nurture a friendship with him, come talk to me. I'd love to show you how to do that and give you some insights. And if you've never really met Jesus, I can introduce you to him. He wants to be your friend too. And this is a friendship where I feel like, man, I've like married up, if you know what I mean. I really have no idea why he wants to be friends with someone like me. But he says that he does. So at some point, I just got to kind of take his word for it, Same for you. If you're wondering, how could Jesus want to be friends with someone like me? All I can tell you is that he does. And you might say, how do you know that he does? And all I can tell you is that he says that he does. And I encourage you or dare you to take his word on it too. Now, Jesus is arguably the most giving, generous friend that I ever had. He gives to a fault. Sometimes I've got to self-check on this because I never want to be that kind of friend who's just friends with you because of what you have or what you give me. It's like, you heard the old adage, the only thing better than owning a boat is being friends with someone who has a boat. I never want to be that kind of friend. You know what I mean? Well, I kind of do. If you want to be friends with me and you have a boat, I kind of do. But I never want to be the kind of friend that's just take. Now, I know this. I am never going to outgive Jesus. And I am never going to match him in generosity. But I do want to self-check every now and then, going, am I just in this for what I can get out of you? I just don't want to be that kind of person. And I don't want to treat another person that way. But nonetheless, even when my friendship motives aren't solid, this brother is generous to a fault. I mean, I remember the time I should say this. I think he's kind of an introvert, sort of like me. A lot of you don't realize this, but I am a pretty hardcore introvert. I go home from church on Sunday, and I can turn the light switch on, but then I need to go sleep for like 36 hours in my cave. Introverts, you know what I mean on this? Sometimes I get the sense, and I think that Jesus may be an introvert, because I notice there's a lot of times he just wants to be alone. He just wants some time to himself, but every time that I come to him, he makes time for me. And I've seen this with other people too. Every time that people come to him, He puts it aside and chooses to give to them instead. I remember this one time he was out, like he was on the teaching circuit. He was out like all stinking day. And all he wanted to do was come home, get in the lazy boy, pop on the TV and open a beer. But he comes home and there are like just like the parking lot and driveway are full. I mean, there are people all around his house because people are just attracted to him. They see something in him. He's one of those guys that people just naturally want to be friends with. And they were there, and he's tired. And you know what he did? He just had compassion on him. He had compassion on him and gave up what he wanted to give to them because he knew it would bless them and help them. And so he did it. And he lives his life that way. I think of this other time where he like picked up this towel and he kind of got down on his knees and he just started like washing his friend's feet. I'll tell you this, you ever try to wash my feet, you're getting decked. You know, it's just, you don't need to be down there. That's weird and it's awkward. But when it's someone like him, I should be washing his feet. Wouldn't you agree? And there was this time that he just started washing his disciples' feet because, you know, he wasn't afraid of the dirty jobs. A lot of times I'm afraid of the dirty job. I don't want to do the jobs that are unpleasant to me. There's a lot that needs to be done in this world. Would you agree? But I want to do the jobs that fit my timetable. I want to do the jobs that make me happy, that make me feel good, that bring me joy. Someone else can do that other kind of work. Maybe you're like that too, but Jesus wasn't. He was a guy who would do the menial work, who would get down on his knees and wash dirty feet. It's just what he's like. I remember this other time, it was this woman, he didn't even meet her before, but he wanted to be her friend. And people were just tormenting her. They caught her doing some stuff that she shouldn't be doing, and they dragged her out to make a public spectacle of her, and they were ridiculing and mocking her and trying to get Jesus to side with them. And you know what he did? He risked it all. He risked his reputation. He risked his standing with that people. He didn't care if he was on the outs in the in circle. He didn't care if he was kicked out of the clique. He stood by her side. He's the kind of friend who would give, even of his very own self, even of his own reputation. Are you kind of with me on this? Just kind of the guy that he is. I mean, he's gone so far with this that he actually even died for me. He died for you too. And he died for people who were actually in the process of killing them. He just gives and gives and gives. And while they're killing him, he's saying things like this: Father, forgive them. Father, forgive them. For they know not what they do. He's the kind of friend that like turns the other cheek, that'll take the blow, that isn't wounded by the insult, that isn't knocked down because you blew him off. He's the kind of friend that still gives even when you blow him off, turn your back on him, talk bad about him behind his back, or downplay a relationship with him because it isn't popular around the other friend circle you happen to be in. He still is generous to a fault. This is the kind of friend I have found him to be, and it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't, and it hasn't made sense to many of his closest friends either, which is why he would take time to explain it to them. I'll give some of those things that he said to you here this morning. I remember this time that he said this, where he would call himself, like he would talk about himself in the third person, which admittedly is kind of weird, but that's how he rolls. And he would go, you know, the Son of Man, you know, didn't come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. It's like he was trying to explain to some of his friends who just wanted to be popular and who wanted to be great and who wanted to be like just wow by other people. Go, no, that's not what I'm about. Like, I'm here to serve people like that. I'm here to serve other people. In fact, the way I can even understand my life is one of service, not being served. So far as giving my life as a ransom for others. There's this other time he said this. It's like, freely you've received, freely give. Because that's how he rolls. Remember this, where he says, give, just give, you know, do it. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Do you want a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over? I don't even know what that means unless I stop and think about it. But it sounds pretty good, and it sounds pretty lavish. And he's like, that's what God will do. Because that's how God rolls. God is a giving God. So he's like, be like me, be like God. Give, and it'll be given to you in abundance. For the measure with which you use, it will be measured to you. Give a little, God will meet you there. And trump it up a little bit. Give a lot. Oh, look out, see what God's going to do. I think of this. This one time he said this. And I didn't even hear this from him. I had to hear this from another friend of his who just kind of recorded it. It said, it's more blessed to give than receive. And we all nod our heads and we know that's the right answer. Is it more blessed to give than receive? Sure it is. But do we believe it? I don't a lot of times. I like to receive. If any of you want to give me things, good things, mind. You don't go cleaning out your garage now on me, all right? I will willingly take them from you. I like to get good things, free meals, nice trips, rides on boats, right? I like to get good things. Do you like to get good things? Jesus, man, he looks at life differently. He's like, nah, you know what? It's good to get good things, but you know what's even better? Giving, blessing others. And strangely, I've intuitively come to really discover that it's true, that in those times when I put myself out there and choose to give of myself in some kind of way for another without expecting something in return, it's actually kind of better. It's funny to me to realize that Jesus actually knows what he's talking about. And so he's become a friend that I'm really learning to trust in that kind of way. Which leads us to what we call our fifth discipleship pillar here at Fellowship of Faith as we learn what it means to be like Jesus, to live like Jesus, and to follow Jesus. And we put it like this. We call it Regive. Stick with me through this. Here's what we say here at FOF. We believe all that we are and all that we own ultimately come from God. It's a realization that we come to that everything that I am is ultimately a gift from him. Be it the abilities that I have, the skills that I've had, the opportunities that I've had in life, the resources I have, maybe the intellect or the strength or whatever else it might be. All of this is ultimately a gift from him. Somehow traces its source back to him at the root. And so what a life of faith means, a life of response to God, because that's what faith is. It's responding to God. It's responding to God in trust, going, yeah, you did something so good for me, and that kind of sticks with me, that clings with me. And so I kind of want to kind of respond back to you in a positive way. We call that faith. A life of faith, therefore, means giving back to him. So discipleship, being like Jesus, means giving the first of what we receive in proportion to what God has given us. It's about embarking. It's a way of life where we continually become more generous and more sacrificial, because that's how Jesus rolled. With our time, with our money, with our very selves, towards our church, our families, the needs of others in this world, because Jesus' generosity and sacrifice had no limits. And we follow it up by saying, we find it a challenge to be sure. We find it a joy. It's what life with Jesus looks like. And so here at FOF, we make a pledge, those of us who commit ourselves, at least in membership here, we say, I covenant to do what? To give. To give. To give. How? Generously. Sacrificially. From the first of what I receive as a faith-based gesture, going the best and first, God, I give it back to you. and proportionately to what you have given me. I'm striving to learn how to do this better because that's the kind of friend he is. And I want to follow him in kind. And it's what we encourage you who are here looking to be a follower of Jesus to emulate as well. So I'm going to bring 3 people on stage this morning, and I'm going to do it in succession, one at a time. And each is going to share with you briefly a story of how they've learned to do this or experienced this with Christ in their life. The first is Patty McNally, great woman who's been attending here at Fellowship for a while. Patty's going to come up and share a time in her life where she saw God just provide for her in ways that defied common sense. Patty, I don't see you in a corner here. Did you flee the building? Or there you are. Would you welcome Patty up to the stage with me today? Here you go. Patty, let me get you hooked up on the mic right here. And while I get my stool, I've already introduced you, but why don't you just share how long you've been coming to Fellowship of Faith?
Hi. I'm Patty, obviously. I've been coming here about 1.5 years. My claim to fame is I'm Sarah Schmidt's mom, but I am an attender here. Also, we came a few times before COVID hit, and then after COVID hit, we stopped coming to the building and watched online. So I feel like it's been longer.
Yeah, and it's been great having you here, and so great having you in the family. And by the way, you're more than Sarah Schmidt's mom. It's no knock on Sarah. You're Patty McNally, and we love you for you, all right? So good to have you here. So look, you experienced something 24 years ago, and I'm going to let you tell the story. Why don't you share with us what happened 24 years ago?
Okay, I had been married 17 years to a Christian man who I thought we had a very, very solid marriage and relationship and family. And he answered an ad on the internet and fell in love with somebody else and left our family in every way.
And from what you've told me, he took everything. He left you pretty much high and dry, right?
Yeah, I was a teacher's aide at the time, and so I insured the whole family. And in my school district where I was, an aide at the time, because the insurance was so expensive, my paychecks every 2 weeks were $80.
Okay.
And so on that $80, I had to figure out how to survive. And obviously $80, is like a gas tank a week.
Yeah, and every stay-at-home mom or every single parent here knows that challenge of trying to raise children on a single income, and then going even more where it's teacher's aide salary. It's not a high-paying job.
No.
You lost 17 years of everything that you guys have even saved, or equity,
Right.
house, you name it. It's gone. Share with people today the ways that you saw God provide in that time.
It's so huge that it's hard to say in only 5 minutes, so I'll try to just give the gist. But obviously I was devastated. Our family was devastated. And even though I was a Christian at the time, my faith grew to a new level that I never ever experienced before. I think it's that old adage of you never know what you have till it's gone, and you never know how much you need God until God is all you have. And so I journaled a lot. I filled out so many journals over the next couple years, and I would just cry out in prayer and need, and I really hoped that my family would be restored, but that's not the path. But God showed up for me in so many ways. So I always had at least $1 in my wallet. I had people the community stepped up. I never once had to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, but I never had to. I never had to go to the food pantry or anything like that, even though I could have, or gone to church. But somebody gave me a car, and not just a beater of a car, a really nice car. And not only gave me a car, but paid my insurance for a year, gave me a $250 gift card at the gas station, gave me a $250 gas station at a muffler and brake place to get my oil changed. And I remember going the next morning after I got my car, stumbling down, opening the garage door. I'm like, nope, it wasn't a dream, because it seemed so surreal that somebody would give you a nice car. And just things like that happen continually. Somebody showed up at my door one day and said, here, I have a gift for you. And I said, oh, okay, who's it from? She said, I can't tell you that. And my youngest daughter was home at the time, Andrea, and Andrea wasn't a crier. And she and I sat on the couch and lifted up the lid to this gift box, and we both just sobbed. It was just filled with gift cards, and not just gift cards for necessities. Those were important, of course. But I think what moved us the most is there were gift cards for movie theater and restaurants to go out to eat so we could have some sense of normalcy. One of Sarah's friends in her high school youth group at the time left me a card one day with a $20 bill in it and a note that said, "God hears the cries of your heart." And my refrigerator was always filled from people. It was just incredible. And I counted it up last night preparing for this. And the people I know who helped me, one of, I suspect anonymously, is in this room. But 85 people, I'm not even sure I could list 85 people I know right now, but 85 people helped us who I know of, and that doesn't even include the people who anonymously gave us money or tangible gift of something. I remember on Christmas Eve, it was kind of dreaded because it was very fresh and new at this time. And we came home, and outside of our patio door, where there was a lot of snow, someone had dug on our patio a hole in the snow and filled it with presents for our whole family. It was amazing.
So I'm hearing this story, and when you emailed me, and I've heard many stories like this, it's not unique, and that doesn't even undermine the specialness, but just God providing for you in the most tangible ways through
so much
people
yeah.
in your life. Look, I'd like you to maybe share one final thing here today, if that's okay, because I know that we have people here today or who are listening today that are facing similar kind of crises that you are, who are wondering, how am I going to make it? Who are asking questions like, I've got to kind of hold on to everything that I have because I can't make sense of this on paper. What encouragement would you give to people in your situation?
I think first I'd like to encourage the people that aren't in that situation to sit and listen in your prayer time and see maybe what God is calling you to do, because maybe you're supposed to be one of the people I'm talking about. Maybe you're supposed to give or have the privilege to give or help. I know that now I just have a heart for single moms, and I love to give when I can. But I'd say for the people who are struggling, don't give up. Press into God so much, because it's real quick. At that time, I never really understood what it was like to raise my hand and worship to God. I always thought, well, what will people think? What if people see me? And at that time, that's when I started being able to raise my hands and worship, because even though I didn't have a lot or was terrified, I knew I had God, and He was meeting where I was. He was meeting me where I was. And just remember that God never walks away. No matter how unfaithful I am to prayer, my prayer life, He doesn't walk away ever. He's always there. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. Let people know your needs, and just really embrace the community around you, because I don't know what I would have done without community.
Patty, thank you so much for coming up today. Let's give her a hand, all right? Thank you. I want to introduce you to another person now. He's actually spoken here on stage before, but he's made some deliberate life changes in his life as of late. His name is Jared Neiman. Jared, I'm going to welcome you up, and Jared is going to tell you about a new way of serving God that he feels called to, and I'll let him speak for yourself. Jared, let's welcome him, all right? All right, first off, how long have you been coming?
Yes, so Jolene and I, Jolene's my wife. We've been married 15 years. We have 2 daughters, Tabitha, age 9, Lydia, age 7. We've lived in Crystal Lake for 12 years, and now we've been part of FOF for 2 years.
All right, so you've recently made a huge life decision, and it starts this coming week. Share with people what it is.
Well, Tuesday, I'll be starting seminary at North Park Theological Seminary.
Now, Jared, I know that in some capacity, this has been stirring in you for some time, even if you couldn't put your finger on specifically what it is. I've got to imagine this is coming with a lot of, shall we say, scary life challenges. What are some of those?
Yes, well, starting this week, some of the challenges are continuing to have a deep faith in where God's leading. There's definitely waves of anxiety. There's those types of things, but also trusting in the Spirit's power. I've strongly sensed His power, and I've seen fruit of the Spirit here the last few months as I've fully considered this. I've considered this since I was about age 19, but it was just in the last number of years where my faith has taken a turn. In fostering children, I hit burnout. And in that dark moment, I really sense God telling me that He loves me for me, not for what I do. And so in that new identity as a child, I now am being given this strength to explore seminary and explore becoming a pastor.
Now you just gave a wonderfully spiritual answer to the question, but I'm going to drill in on you here because it has to come with what I would call some of those very tangible felt challenges too. Mm-hmm. Changing work, possibly moving as a family someday, financial challenges of tuition, a complete shift of life, commuting to Chicago, all of these kinds of things. I mean, this area of service that you're about to enter into, let's face it, it's going to cost you in a lot of ways, right? Mm-hmm. So why are you doing it?
I'm doing it because I really sense the Spirit, God giving me the power to do it.
Sure, He gives you the power. Say no. Say no.
But out of fear for Him, and out of this newfound realization that I'm His child and that there's freedom, that all of these other things don't matter. Like I said, there's definitely waves of anxiety where, we think about finances or we think about schedules. I think about failing. So there's, I think about, being humiliated and failing my classes and all of this being for nothing. Fears like that. But in prayer, God surprises me. And I've been inspired quite a bit by Moses, and because I feel like I'm not that eloquent, I'm not that great of a speaker or that great of a writer, and God told Moses, who gave human beings their mouths? Is it not I, the Lord? And so I take heart in that, and so deep in prayer I can take heart in that, and these other risks just aren't as important.
I mean, that's awesome. And Jared, I look at you and your family, and I don't want to embarrass you here on stage, but I will, or I'll try. But truly, it's this huge faith gesture that you're taking, this complete radical shift of service that you're about to embark in, that's out of your comfort zone, that's going to tax you, that's going to test you, and you're putting yourself on the line. And I know this, that God has a call on every person here, and oftentimes God calls with some similar kind of out of the comfort zone call. There's people here struggling with the same kind of anxiety, people here with the same kind of excuses like Moses that they could easily set up. What word of wisdom or encouragement would you give to them today?
I would say stay near to God. So let me explain. It's a fact that God is near you. Like Jesus said that He's always with us by His Spirit that's within us. And Paul says multiple times, God is near you. So even when we don't realize it or we don't feel like it, God is near you. But how do we stay near to God? I would say that we stay near in prayer. And so I would encourage you to be creative in prayer. Pray scripture. Pray centering prayers. Like a centering prayer that I've prayed the last few months is simply Abba. And so I'll just say that randomly throughout the day, either in my mind or out loud when I have those waves of anxiety, and it recenters me and it reminds me of what's reality, what's going on. Another way of creatively praying would be to write out your prayer and write out what you sense God might be speaking to you. And a lot of times for me, it's writing out scripture, but in the actual act of writing it as a loving father to me, his child, I've found it very powerful. So I would encourage you to be creative in praying as you stay near God.
All right, well, you and your family, I don't mean this as a cliche. It's inspirational watching someone take this kind of leap forward, responding to God. Way to go. Let's give it up for Jared. Thank you, brother. Jolene. One final story today. It's Art Delgadillo. Art Delgadillo is going to come on stage now. He works over at McHenry High School here in town. He's chief of security or head of security over at McHenry High School. And Art, to me, is a great example of someone who's taking their expertise in the private sector, if you can call it that, and trying to bless the church with it. So, Art, here you go. How long have you been coming to FOF?
Well, first of all, good morning, FOF family. How are you? Just a little bit about myself and my wife, Kathy, and my family. I've been coming to FOF for approximately 2 years. I've been serving for 1 year. But if I'm honest with you, let me tell you how we ended up at FOF. I'm going to keep it real short and simple. My daughter, Ava, she's sitting over there. She's probably embarrassed. She asked us for her birthday to come to FOF. That was how we ended up here. And
rock on.
My wife and I said, of course, honey. And that was our transition over to FOF. She said, I really want you guys to come to FOF.
By the way, we recommend that the birthday presents you give this year are also an invitation to come to FOF, and they will be blessed by it. So, no, brother, it's great having you. Way to go, Ava, on that. And it's been great having your family here. So tell us just very briefly what you do over at McHenry High School.
So I'm director of security for the McHenry High School district. So it's freshman campus, upper campus. And I have several teammates that are here at this church. I don't know if you knew that. Tina, can you stand up for a second? We'll keep it real brief. Real brief. She's the police officer at the school.
You said top cop, right?
She's our top cop, yes. That's my bodyguard. Like, she takes care of me, too. And then my brother, Victor, he's security there, too. Anyway, all to tell you is that we have a great team at the high school. I'm a retired police commander. I did that for approximately 25 years. I have 15 years of detective investigation cases, crimes against persons. I want to be vulnerable with you a little bit because I really just want you to know where my heart is and my posture is in the serving. When I retired the police department, I really missed the opportunity to be for a family or someone who was broken, going through some hard times. And I missed it a lot. And my wife kept encouraging me, like, hey, you should do something. During that time, I was also diagnosed with leukemia, and at that point, right, you think the world's coming to an end, but it didn't. It actually, we were good to go. Like in 1 week later, after we got the news, we were ready to keep moving, boasting our weakness and just celebrating life, and we knew that God was always going to be with us, and He is with us. I wasn't looking for a job. I got a phone call saying, hey, there's an opportunity at the high school. And I prayed about it. It was director of security, and Highland Park had the big incident. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, let's just rethink this. I prayed about it. In my heart, there was a tugging from the Holy Spirit just saying, hey, you got to go in that direction. I applied, and then, I ended up getting hired there. So what I'm telling you is, if you feel like your heart's tugging, pulling you in a certain direction, listen to it. Do it. I'm the happiest person I've ever been because of it. When my heart is filled, I am so happy. And so I just really encourage that for all of you. If you're feeling that moment or something that, just do it. Do it.
Art, I think about the time I've gotten to know you. You serve as one of our hosts here on Sunday morning. You're wearing the tag even. I think you're serving this morning, even at the front door, greeting people. And I think of that old motto, the police motto of to protect and to serve, right? And you've given your life to service. And hearing even your story now, the joy that comes through being that spark, as you put it, in someone's life, I'd like to shift gears to something specific here at FOF. You're taking all of this police training, all of this police experience that you have, and starting a safety team here at FOF. Describe just briefly to people what that is here today, and also why you're doing it.
Yeah, once again, right, it's just one of those things. I'm like, why don't we have a security team here at the church? It's not to be the police or the military. It's simply just to be prepared in case we did have an emergency. And I think there's a lot of qualified people. As a matter of fact, I know already some people who are volunteering to be a part of this team. We really just want to be like a greeter, just one step higher, just in the sense that we're a little bit more observant.
Greeter with a gun?
Greeter, no, not a greeter with a gun. Our gun will be our mouth that will de-escalate things if we had an issue, if we had an emergency. But so there's a lot of people who are excited about this. I'm excited about this, and we're looking to put this together here in the very near future.
Art, I mean, just step in the line like this, stepping up to serve in this way because you love this church, because you want to serve people. It's awesome. Can we give it up for Art here this morning?
Thank you.
I want to recap briefly, and here's why I love about these three stories, especially in tandem with each other. We've got a story of someone who physically witnessed God provide for them when it made no sense on paper. They saw God provide every single day and chose to honor him with their life. We met someone here this morning who is putting themselves on the line in a major life shift to follow God's call to serve and their life. And we met someone here today who is simply taking their life experience and saying, how do I bless the body with this? How do I bless the church with this? How do I serve others, even if there's no, shall I say, compensation or reward coming in it? Guys, I'm convinced of this. Each of you sitting here today, each and every one of you, from the youngest of you to the oldest of you, you have a ministry to the church, and you also have a mission to the world. It's part of what being near God results in. Seize it. Own it. Pursue it. Give. Give of yourself. Give of yourself in service to him. It will be a challenge, but you will find it will be a joy. Give of yourself. Give of what God has given you to serve others. Because that's how Jesus rolls. You with me? So, I said at the beginning, we encourage you to take a survey. I'll throw it on the screen one more time. We've got 8 different ways that you can serve here at Fellowship of Faith or through Fellowship of Faith to the community. And I mean the global community by that as well. My bet is that there's something on this list that resonates with your personality type, your skill set, your experience. If you don't know where to start, that's why I had you take a survey 30 minutes ago. And if you blew me off, I get it, most people do. Take it before you leave here today. Stop by the table on the way out, play on that website, find different ways, but whatever you do, take a leap. If you're serving already, praise God in that area of service and say simply, God, is this something that you're bearing fruit in and showing joy in my life in? Keep pursuing it. If God has closed that door, then pursue another door. If God is looking to test you or bring you or push you in greater ways out of your comfort zone, respond to him in that, oh, it's so hard, I don't want to either. But do it. And if you're not serving at all, you're like, man, I'm brand new to this church. We don't care. God wants to do something in your life. Explore it. There's no blood oaths here. Talk to people. Try it out. You're not committed for life, but take those steps and see what God does in you and through you as a result. All right, so band, I'm going to call you on up. All right? Let's thank the band. They do a lot of hard work around here. Let's thank the unsung heroes. We got a whole tech team back there that the band couldn't do their job without. How was coffee this morning? Pretty good? Let's thank a coffee team. And we can add hospitality and hosts and children's ministry and student ministry and people who mow the lawn and people who clean the facilities and staff who give the best hours their week and people who serve out in the community with no sense of even increasing our church, but just to help people in McHenry County and around the world in need. Let's give one big shout out to all of them as well. And I'm going to invite you now to stand and pray with me. You guys know this. I've been swimming in this book called Valley of Vision. It's these ancient by my standards anyway, Puritan prayers coming out of the 17th and 18th century. And man, these brothers could pray There's a prayer that I want to show you that's about service here today that just kind of resonates with me. It starts, "Thou God of my end." We don't talk that way anymore, do we? What does that even mean? Like, God, you are my goal. God, you are the sum total of completion in my life. God, you are the totality of what I am working and aiming for. Read this first slide for a moment and get familiar with the words today before you pray it with me. Kind of cool, isn't it? Now read final slide number 2. I'll tell you what grabs hold of my heart. It's that middle paragraph. What a death it is to strive and labor and to always be in a hurry and yet do nothing. I feel that's the plight of 21st century suburban America. Alas, time flies. And what do I accomplish? I've been of little use. How often do we spend and spin our days in pursuit of things that at the end of the day are worth little? But oh, that I could be a flame of fire, God, in your service, burning in a continual blaze. I want to encourage you to make that your prayer. This whole thing, your prayer with me today. Let's pray it. Thou God of my end, you have given me a fixed disposition to go forth and spend my life for you. If it be thy will, let me proceed in it. If not, then revoke my intentions. All I want in life is such circumstances as may best enable me to serve you and the world. To this end, I leave all my concerns in your hand, but let me not be discouraged, for this hinders my spiritual fervency. Enable me to undertake some task for you, for this refreshes and animates my soul, so that I can endure all hardship and labors and willingly suffer for your name. But oh, what a death it is to strive and labor, to be always in a hurry and yet do nothing. Alas, time flies and I am of little use. Oh, that I could be a flame of fire in your service, always burning in one continual blaze. Fit me for usefulness in this world. Amen.
Did all your dreams come crashing down? Feels like no one hears you now. Did all the good things fall apart? Got so much anxious in your heart. 'Cause I know that pain. You're not alone today. 'Cause even in troubled waters, even on shaking ground, you can find rest in the Father. Lay your worries down. He won't leave your side. He won't fail you now. You can find rest in the Father. Lay your worries down. Well, he will calm your restless soul.
'Cause even in troubled water, even in shaking ground, you can find rest in the Father. Lay your worries down. He won't leave your side. He won't fail you now. You can find rest in the Father. Lay your worries down. You can find rest in the Father. Lay your worries down. Rest in the Father. Lay your worries down.
Let's pray. Slide, please. Lord, devote us to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Fill us with awe at the wonders and miraculous signs done by the apostles. Bring us together in common. May we sell our possessions and goods to help those in need. We will continue to meet, breaking bread in our homes and eating together with glad and sincere hearts. Receive our praise, O God. May we enjoy the favor of all the people. Add to our number daily those who are being saved. May God bless you in it. May you live this. May you embody it. May you learn from Jesus and follow in his way. May your life be a life of responding in giving. And may you discover that Jesus means what he says. It is more blessed to give than receive. And trust that he'll be there every step of the way. God bless. We'll see you next week.
One more thing. My name is Steve Wells, and I like friends with boats. Just so you know, and some of my good friends right here with a boat, thank you so much for sharing your boat with us. Real quick, just one more round of applause for Patty, Jared, and Art. Super cool stuff that they're doing. We have so many opportunities back there that you can sign up for, as Dave mentioned. I mean, from the coffee bar, you can sign up there, and that's inside the church. From outside the church, like organizations like Firm Base, international organizations like One Day Revival. Awesome stuff. So I encourage you to go back there, get involved, sign up for something, be the hands and feet that Jesus has called us to be. So with that, we'll play one last song, but I want to invite, we have a team of 9 people going to Uganda with us in November. And I want to invite some of those up here because they have some free stuff for you guys. So if you like free stuff, raise your hands, and then they will throw stuff to you. If you don't get something, go back to the booth, and they'll probably give you something back there. So here we go. Come on up.
I like when we touch on serving. And there's 2 reasons for that.
When we touch on what?
Serving.
Serving. Okay, yeah.
So,
which was the point of the message, Tina.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We're serving.
So there's 2 reasons why I like it. One, I like that we point out the volunteers and we thank them for all that they do, because a lot of the stuff that happens on Sunday mornings, a lot of the stuff that happens behind the scenes are all volunteer-based.
It's ridiculous when you hear the number of volunteers on a Sunday.
We have so many, and so much goes into it that it is astounding how many people volunteer their time on a weekend, on a Sunday, during the week, all that. So it's nice to recognize them. And 2, I've served at FOF since I can remember. I was an usher with my dad when I was younger.
Seriously,
I'd help him.
Kids.
Yeah,
our kids.
They're extremely
involved.
involved. Yeah, just right away. And there's such it's a warm feeling when you serve. Being a part of something, being a part of the church, being a part of the leadership of the church, and guiding them down the path that we want, that we're heading down, it's very fulfilling. Yeah. And it's a nice opportunity for those of you who aren't serving or maybe have not had the opportunity to serve yet to maybe think about it, because it is truly, truly, truly inspirational, and it just makes you feel good, like volunteering your time to serve.
And not good in a look what I'm doing good, but
no.
Just look how deeper I've experienced God is good.
Exactly. It's like it's soul healing. Giving no matter what's going on in your life, how bad it may be or how good it may be, taking time away and helping others or helping a great cause like FOF and what FOF supports, it heals whatever brokenness you have inside. And I used to spend 12 to 13 hours here when I was a kid going through youth group. I'd be here serving on Sundays for both services. When we do 2 services, we go to lunch, we come back and get ready for the youth group. Like, it's just, we spend all the time here, and I loved every second of it.
My kids too.
Yeah, it's just a great experience. So I'm glad we do something like this, especially during the summer when we don't necessarily have a message teaching that we're going through. Usually we start that after Labor Day or whatever. It's nice to be able to touch on it. Yep. Yeah, maybe. No, it's Labor Day, so maybe not.
Oh, yeah. Next week's Labor Day.
Yeah.
So, I know at one point Dave said he thinks Jesus is an introvert. And I don't know what his point was, because my brain got stuck on that, because I too am an introvert. And I was recently part of a conversation that said, if you were going to open up like a bar, like a sports bar, what would the theme be? And you know what my theme would be?
Cells.
Library. Because we can have like all these fun books, and you can get your book and you go sit in the booth by yourself.
Okay, so that's the kind of what I was thinking, like little individual cells where it's isolated booths where all you have to do is talk to the server, or not even. You can automate yourself, and they just slide it through a slot, so you don't.
Yeah, you could even have a section for like audio books instead of like a jukebox. It's audio books.
Like, you know what silent raves are, where people go and listen to the music through headphones, and they're not. So like, if you go into the room, it's like the rave atmosphere, lights are flashing and people are dancing, but there's no music because they're playing through headphones. We can do something like that where you can just be in a nice little room by yourself or with a couple of people you want, so you don't have to interact with others.
I guess I go. So Jesus is an introvert, but he continues to serve you even when he's tired.
Well,
that's what I remember. Good.
For me, I feel like Jesus encompasses everything that we can possibly be. So an introvert and an extrovert, just combined into one big ball of both. So I get that. I mean, I'm extroverted to a degree, but I definitely have introverted tendencies.
No, my whole family. Sunday afternoons, we're all like in separate rooms, just recovering.
Yeah, I like being around people, but I also very much enjoy my own time and space.
Yes. Speaking of being around people, come Wednesday to dinner.
Yeah, we're firing it back up. We're starting our school year stuff, if you will. We kind of operate off a school schedule, so we're starting back up again. We're having our Wednesday night meetings, and we have dinner at 5, and then meetings and
Bible
groups
at 6.
start at 6. So come join it if you can. If you can't, well, start your own.
Yeah. If you've not taken the Serve quiz,
go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Because it might surprise you. There's a couple on there. I take it once a year, and my answers change depending on what part of my life I'm in.
I know how they're going to respond if I say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very interested.
But if you're honest with yourself, I mean, the top 4 are usually pretty solid. They don't change. But a lot of the bottom of the top 10 change for me, and a couple of them are surprising. So.
Yeah. So anyway.
Take that. And even if it's not something, if you can't like serve physically here at FOF, if you're out of the country, out of the state, that's fine. But at least get an idea of what you're good at, and maybe offer that somewhere in your community. If you want to start a church of your own, start a group of your own.
Let me know if you do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And let us know how it goes.
So, all right, we're going to wrap it up.
Okay. Sounds great.
You guys, we loved having you with us this week. We'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, enjoy. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Have
If
a
not, we'll
great
see you
one,
next
guys.
Sunday. See ya.